Welcome to the Old Time Radio Westerns. I'm your host, Andrew Rhines, and before we get into this episode, I wanted to do a little PSA and remind you that I put out multiple shows a week of Old Time Radio Westerns. You can check them out by going to otrwesterns.com or looking up OTR Westerns on your podcast application of choice. We're releasing over 10 episodes a week so far, about 100 a month. So definitely want you to check that out. Again, otrwesterns.com and check it out. I also wanted to invite you to check out my sister podcast site, OT Netcast, and that's Netcast. So OT Netcast, Netcast, otnetcast.com. We're currently releasing mystery genre shows, and this is shows like The Shadow, Escape, Suspense, and The Whistler. And we have plans on bringing other shows to the network for you guys to listen to. So it's my non-Western old-time radio channel that I can kind of do other genres that not only I like, but hopefully you would like too. You can check us out by going to otnetcast.com or searching OTNETCAST on your podcast app of choice. Now let's get into this episode. This episode is going to be The Lone Ranger. Original air date is July 18th, 1938, and the title is The Crawford Sisters.
A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. With his great horse Silver and his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the masked rider of the plains fought crime and criminals throughout the western United States. No man did more to bring law and order to a lawless frontier. Now return with us to those thrilling days of the early West, when adventure lay at the end of every trail. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver! We're heading for the Boss Square Range. Tonto's waiting there for us. Hi-yo, Silver! Away! Two sisters, the Crawford girls, had a long, hard trip from Louisiana into the West. Molly, the older of the two, was rather dignified and stately, while the younger Betty was full of life and thrilled with the great new country into which they were traveling. As our first scene opens, we find the sisters on the last day of their journey. There's only one other passenger in the stagecoach with them, a man who pays no apparent attention to their lively talk.
Oh, Molly, isn't it wonderful? I suppose it is, Betty. But I'm scared half to death something will happen.
Billy, there's nothing to be afraid of.
But they're Indians and wild animals and everything. And we're traveling alone.
Oh, I think you're just trying to frighten me, Molly. Why, it isn't like it used to be 5 years ago out here. And it's nothing like it was when Uncle Dan came out here 10 years ago, just after the war.
But it still isn't civilized.
It is, too. In his last letter, Uncle Dan said there were regular cities out here with law courts and everything.
Well, if some of the places we passed through are what Uncle Dan meant by cities, and I don't think much of them. That last one wasn't more than a crossroad with 2 stores and a dozen cafes.
You're just prejudiced because that tall, good-looking cowboy we met talked more to me than he did to you.
Betty Crawford, you're just impossible. What's more, I don't think it was wise of you to talk to him as you did when you never met him.
Oh, Molly.
You actually invited him to come to Bar Square Ranch and see you.
Of course I did. We'll be pretty lonesome there if it's at all like what Uncle Dan said.
You'll be busy enough on the ranch without having a lot of worthless cowboys hanging around.
Pardon, senoritas.
Oh.
I have not spoken before. Until now, I do not hear you mention the Bar Square.
Yes, that's our ranch. We're going there now.
So, it's very fine rancho. You are fortunate.
Betty, do be still.
Oh, hush up, Molly. I'll talk if I want
You
to.
will ride the stage to within 5 miles of the rancho, see?
That's what we were told to do. There are going to be horses there to meet us.
The Senor Daniel Crawford. He's related to you?
He's our uncle. He wrote to us and asked us to come out and live on the ranch after Mother died.
You have not heard from him since then?
No. Why?
He has died.
Uncle Dan's dead?
Si, senorita.
How do you know?
I know this part of the country very well. Permit me. I'm the Senor Pablo Venado. I have great ranchos in this country.
But Uncle Dan.
He was shot.
Shot?
Life is most uncertain in this part of the country. I'm very sorry to have to be the one to tell these things to you.
Then Molly, we'll have to take hold of things right away, won't we?
I don't know. Perhaps Mr. Venata can tell us what's happened to the ranch since Uncle Dan died.
There is much has happened. It is too bad, but there was some trouble about the cattle.
What kind?
Some of it were brands that were not of the Bar Square. I do not say that the Senor Crawford stole the cattle, but he was most fortunate in having many strange cattle come by accident into his herd.
Don't you dare say my uncle was a cattle thief.
Oh, I say no such thing, senorita.
Who's running the ranch now?
The foreman, his helper, I do not know. But I, too, am on my way to town on business that concern the Bar Square.
You are? What is this business, Mr. Bernardo?
It is to investigate the legal claims I may have against the Bar Square. It is quite possible that I may call on you at a later day. See?
We're not going to have any visitors, Mr. Bernardo. Thanks, just the same.
While the 2 girls and Pablo Venado continued their journey, the Lone Ranger and his faithful Indian companion Tonto were carrying out an investigation of their own. We see them now on the Bar Square range, riding slowly among the scattered cattle, observing them closely.
Tonto, there's another cow with Pablo's brand. We've been riding for only 2 hours, and we've seen no less than 100 like it.
That heap strange.
I would have sworn Dan Crawford was no rustler.
Him good feller.
This seems to bear out what Pablo claimed.
Pablo say ranch someday belonged to him.
If Dan really stole all these cows, Pablo would almost have an honest claim to the Bar Square.
There's another cow.
With Pablo's brand. There's something wrong about this.
And that's what Tonto thinks.
Dan Crawford wouldn't have been foolish enough to steal another man's cattle without changing their brands, even if he were dishonest.
Not right.
And there was never any question about his honesty until he suddenly disappeared.
Pablo say Dan dead.
If Dan was killed, where's his body? And Pablo was the first to spread the story of Dan's death.
Tonto know that.
Pablo has been in several crooked deals before this, so nothing could be proved against him.
Him plenty smart feller.
I feel sorry for those two girls if he's plotting against them.
You talk with them?
I spoke to Betty while she and Molly were waiting for the stage.
Uh-huh.
And that's another thing.
What's that?
Pablo was waiting for the same stage. He might have been looking for an opportunity to get acquainted with them.
That may be right.
Tonto, are you sure you heard Pablo say he'd have the bar square before long?
Him talk plenty big. Him say him get ranch soon now.
And he told that to the sheriff?
But
He couldn't claim the ranch without proof of ownership, no matter how many of his cows were found on it.
Pablo say him show lawman proof.
The only proof he could have would be a deed signed by Dan.
That's right.
He's got something up his sleeve. I wonder what it
You
could...
look there.
Oh,
wait,
Silver. Bar Square riders. They've seen us. They've stopped their horses.
Him shoot him enough.
Yes.
What we do?
We're leaving, Tonto.
You not get him?
No, I don't want to get close enough to be recognized.
Them breed.
They are. Come on,
Get
Silver.
him, white feller.
Tonto, you understand now why I didn't want to be recognized?
I do not know.
There were no breeds on this ranch when Dan was here.
Oh,
They looked to me like some of Pablo's men from across the border.
that's right.
That proves something is wrong. And as long as they don't know us, we can keep an eye on them. Come on, Silver!
Molly and Betty, saddened by the report of their uncle's death, took up their residence in the large Bar Square ranch house. We see Molly 2 days later in the living room. She has just heard Betty's hurried steps on the porch outside.
Molly.
Whatever's the excitement, Betty?
Oh, Molly, what do you think?
I think you've been running faster than is good for you.
I was just talking to a half-breed.
Yes?
And he said Uncle Dan had been a cattle thief.
A half-breed said that?
I was just talking to him. That's why I ran to tell you.
Betty, you don't believe that.
I don't know. He said nearly all the ranches around here got their start that way.
Where'd that breed come from?
You remember the man we met on the stage?
Senor Venado?
That's the one. The man I talked to is with him. They have a camp just beyond our ranch.
What in the world are they doing there? I thought Senor Venado was a rancher.
I don't really know. It's something about business here, I guess.
Business?
This man I was talking to said most of the cattle Uncle stole belonged to Venado.
It can't be. I just know it can't be.
Oh, honest, Molly, I don't like to believe it myself, but
Who's that?
why, it's Pablo, the man we met on the stage.
The other man's wearing a star.
The sheriff.
Come in.
It's business, miss. Can we come in?
Of course.
You see? I did not believe the word of Pablo when he told you we should meet again, huh?
What is your business here?
I have the paper to show you.
A paper?
What he saw?
I don't understand.
You will read the paper, yeah? It will explain itself.
Give it to me.
Molly, what is it?
Now, Betty, just wait. Why, this says that Uncle deeded the ranch over to Pablo Venado.
As I have told you before, I am Senor Pablo Venado.
No.
But how? Why?
It looks legal enough to me, miss. According to that there writing, the bar square belongs to Pablo here, all right.
But Uncle wouldn't do a thing like that.
I'm right sorry, but...
And is it the Senor Crawford wish to pay me what he owe me?
What he owes you.
He steal my cattle. He start this rancho with what is mine. Without what he steal, he have nothing.
Molly, that's just what the cowboy was telling me.
I don't know what to do, what to think.
Look here, Mr. Pablo or Senor Venado or whatever you call yourself. How did you get that paper?
Your uncle, he write it out when he sees about to die. He do not wish to die without paying the debt.
But where is Uncle?
Who knows?
But surely...
Pardon, miss, but Pablo said 2 hombres brought him the paper, then lit out.
Well, why would they do a thing like that?
Shucks, that's easy to figure out. Maybe they was the fellers that shot your uncle. And maybe they figured they'd be hung for it even if they wasn't to blame.
And you say this paper's legal?
Looks to me like it.
Oh, Betty, what do we do?
I don't know. If only that cowboy I talked to when we were waiting for the stage was here. I'll bet he'd know what to do.
You will please to leave this rancho at once.
Oh, no.
You will do as I say, or else
Hold on there, Pablo. I'm backing up your play because you seem to have the right on your side. But I ain't going to stand by and let you throw these here girls off the place without no notice.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Well, I will give you 3 days. But on the 3rd day, you...
What the?
A mask, hombre.
Who are you?
Let me see that paper.
An outlaw. Get out, or I'll...
Steady, Sheriff.
A gun!
What is it you want?
I'll look at that paper, Miss Crawford.
But...
There.
Sheriff, he will destroy it.
There ain't nothing I can do, Pablo.
Here you are. I've seen all I need to.
Give it to me, it is mine.
There you are.
Robber, you not...
On your way.
What?
Get out, both of you.
Hurry, Sheriff. We'll call the man and capture these hombres.
I'm coming.
You let them go. They'll call him in. You'll be captured.
I'll take my chance on that.
But-
I've no time to explain. Have you a copy of your uncle's handwriting?
There's a letter.
That'll do. Quickly.
It's on the table here.
Who are you? Why are you here?
Listen to me. Don't leave the ranch until I see you again.
But can't you tell us what...
Not now. Is that the letter?
Yes, but I don't understand.
I'll tell you everything later.
The men are coming after you.
May I have this letter?
Yes. Somehow I feel I can trust
I'll leave by that open window. But remember what I said. Don't give Pablo the ranch before you hear from me.
Hurry. You'll be caught.
Steady, Silver, old boy.
The curtain falls on the first act of our thrilling Lone Ranger drama. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue the story. When Molly and Betty Crawford arrived from Louisiana at the Bar Square Ranch, owned by their Uncle Dan Crawford, they were told that Dan had been shot, and also that he had deeded the ranch to Pablo Venado just before his death. The Lone Ranger, investigating the circumstances surrounding Dan's disappearance, inspected the deed produced by Pablo and warned the girls not to give up the ranch before they heard from him again. Now, as our second act opens, we see the masked man and Tonto riding just beyond the Bar Square range.
Pablo's camp isn't far from here, Tonto.
Pablo not there now.
No, this is the day he threatened to take over the ranch. I saw him riding to town to get the sheriff. But several of his men are in camp. They won't join Pablo until the ranch is actually his.
That's right.
I still don't believe that Dan Crawford is dead.
I don't think you're right.
If he were dead, his body would be found. And Pablo's story about getting that deed from men who disappeared right away doesn't ring true.
You think Sheriff crooked?
No, but he was too easily convinced by Pablo. You remember when I visited the Bar Square the other day?
I don't remember.
I saw the paper that Pablo claimed had been written by Dan just before he died.
What did it say?
Just what Pablo said he did. But when I let Pablo and the sheriff leave the ranch house, I got a sample of Dan's handwriting.
Why you do that?
I wanted to compare it with the paper Pablo showed. I saw the paper for only a moment, but I think it's a clever forgery.
Not bad.
I told Pablo and the sheriff to get out of the house so that Pablo wouldn't know I was after more of Dan's handwriting. Now we're going to see if we were right about all this.
Pablo camp not far now.
Yes, it's just over the next hill.
Maybe better you leave Tonto now, huh?
You know exactly what you're to do?
Tonto? No.
Ride into their camp. Tell them the story I suggested. I'll be watching to see that you come to no harm.
Tonto not afraid.
Here's an arroyo. I'll ride this way.
Tonto see you later.
Right. Come on, Silver.
Maybe we catch Pablo feller. Him plenty smart. White friend of Tonto. Plenty smart, too. There Pablo camp, white fella. And there feller named Chico.
What is it you want here, eh?
Tonto, talk at you. Oh, white fella. Oh,
I had no business here. You will leave at once.
Me tell him you news.
Eh?
You not listen. You get in heap bad trouble.
What is this news you speak of?
Chico, who is this Indian?
Wait one. There is something of importance you have to say.
Well, out with it.
You know feller named Dan?
Senor Crawford?
That's right.
What about him?
Tonto see him.
What is that?
It is impossible.
Tonto tell truth.
Listen. You try to play the trick on Chico and you will die. Where is it you see the gringo?
Him ride to town.
If he ever escapes...
Still one. You are sure you do not make the mistake?
Him big feller. Wear red whisker.
Senor Crawford has a red mustache.
Tonto know him good.
One. Perhaps Pedro have let Senor Crawford get away.
If that is so, then Pablo will get in trouble.
It is for us to make sure.
Say, and at once.
Tonto, go now.
You will please not to move. One move and I, Chico, will shoot you.
I will get my horse.
Why you keep Tonto here?
You know too much. You will stay where I can watch you.
You think Tonto not tell truth?
That is something it will not take much time to learn. And if you have not...
What then?
You will die.
I am ready, Chico.
Good. Make haste to learn the gringo have escaped.
See.
If he have, we must ride the Juan Pablo. If he have not, then we shall see why the Indian have tried to trick us. Now go.
Get up. Get up.
And you, pig of an Indian, pray that you have not lied to Chico. For if you have, it shall be my pleasure to show you what can be done with a knife.
While Pablo, accompanied by the sheriff, prepared to take possession of the bar square, his servant, the breed Juan, was riding away to learn whether or not Dan Crawford had escaped, as Tonto claimed. We see the other breed, Chico, as he stands guard over Tonto several hours later.
Why does not Juan come? It should not take him this long to make his journey.
Tonto think him come now.
Eh?
Me hear horse not far off.
It is. It is Juan.
Him ride plenty fast.
Juan, what is it you have learned?
The Indian, he lies.
Senor Crawford is safe?
See, Pedro keep watch on him night and day. There is no way for him to escape.
You see the gringo with your own eyes.
I saw and talk with him.
Caramba. What have you to say?
Tonto not talk.
But you will.
Huh?
You see this knife? See how the blade she shines.
You not scared, Tonto.
And the edge, how sharp she is. One stroke, like this. And you no tell no more lies.
Do not waste time talking, Chico.
I waste no more time. I will...
What
is that? A mask robbery.
Get back! Tonto plenty glad to see you.
Stab him! Stab him!
See, I will. Oh, you shoot my knife.
You're lucky I didn't shoot to kill. Tonto, get him, you now. Hold him, Tonto. Him not get away.
Do not shoot me. I give up. I do not wish to die.
You should die, but we haven't time to waste on you now.
What we do?
First, we'll tie these men safely. And then we have another ride ahead of us.
In the meantime, Pablo and the sheriff had reached the Bar Square Ranch. The girls, defiant but secretly without hope, did their best to postpone the time of their departure. Molly is speaking.
Sheriff, do we have to leave the ranch?
I sure am sorry, miss. But the 3 days is up, And I can't make Pablo wait no longer.
The rancho is mine. Why should I wait?
I wish I could be sure about that.
You do not yet believe it?
No, I don't.
That do not matter. I have the paper wrote by Senor Crawford, your uncle. I have the sheriff here to see that I get what is mine. There is nothing that you can do.
I'm afraid he's right, Betty.
I'll see that the two of you get back to town all right.
And I will be most happy to pay your fares back to where you came from.
We wouldn't take anything from you. I'd rather die.
That is for you to decide.
We're all packed.
Yes, I'll just get the bag.
There's a buckboard out in front, miss.
Thank you.
I'm so very sorry that you come here only to meet with so great disappointment. But then, what would you have?
I'm ready.
I'll take that bag, miss, and then...
Sheriff.
Huh?
By thunder, I've just seen Dan Crawford riding this way.
What's that?
No.
Uncle Dan?
Well, you couldn't have. Dan's dead.
I think I don't know Dan when I see him. He's coming this way with two fellas on big white horses.
I do not believe
If
it.
it's really Dan, why...
Doggone you, I tell you it is. I seen him when he was topping the rise over yonder.
What does this mean, Pablo?
Do not move.
You sure, Joe?
Dan's alive. You lied to us, Pablo.
Something has gone wrong, but you will not catch Pablo Venado.
Blast you!
You will raise your arms. Good. Now, Miss Molly and Miss Betty, you will walk out of this house ahead of me.
What are you doing? You're a crook.
Do not hesitate. Otherwise, I shall be forced to shoot.
If you hadn't got the draw on me,
But I have. Now march.
We'd better do as he says, Molly.
Yes.
I'm watching you. One false move will be the last.
You can't get away with this, Pablo.
I will soon be across the border, and then your law cannot touch me.
But the girls.
If I am safe, then they will be sent back. If I am followed, and then who can say?
You wouldn't harm us.
Hurry, and maybe I will not. The horses, they're just over there.
I'm not very good at riding.
Hurry.
And I've never ridden anywhere but side saddle. I wouldn't...
Louise, already too late.
Don't point that gun at us.
I will shoot the big... What is this happening?
Molly, that is your rope.
This rope over me. Let me go, you good boy, Tonto.
Get them all right.
You cannot...
You're all through, Pablo. Nothing you can say will help you now. Sheriff, get your men. Have them escort this man over the border.
Boys, hurry up. Help the masked man. Do what he says. Hey, you're the same masked fellow as here the other day.
Yes, Sheriff.
But what's this all about?
I can tell you about it, Sheriff.
By golly, Dan, it's sure good to see you again. I figured you was dead a long time ago.
Dan.
And this is Molly and Betty.
But where did you come
Now,
from?
hold on. Just give me the chance to tell you.
Please.
It was the masked fellow that got me out of all this alive.
Yeah?
He was telling me about it on the way here. He had his engine pard tell a couple of Pablo's fellers that I got away. They'd been holding me prisoner in an old shack back in the hills.
Well, I'll be doggone.
They fell for the engine story, and one of them rode over to the shack to make sure I was still there.
And then what happened?
That's the best part of it. The breed named Chico held on to the engine, but the masked fella, he trailed the other breed and found where I was.
The masked fellow thought of that?
He sure did. He roped them breeds and set me free. Then he brung me here.
And just in time. Oh, Uncle, we're so glad to see you.
Just a minute, Dan. I sort of hate to ask it, but what about them cows of Pablo's that's been found on your range?
Shucks, it was Pablo brung them there.
Huh?
That's a fact. I found that out for myself when they was holding me. They brought him across the border and threw him on my range just so it looked bad for me.
Of all the low-down, sneaking, ornery tricks.
Well, it don't matter now.
Where's the masked man gone to?
Hey, ain't he around?
There he is.
Him and the engine.
Wait! Hey, I want to talk to you. Well, I'll be doggone of all the things to do. Save my life and my ranch, then hightail without even waiting to be thanked.
He's riding away, Uncle. But he'll never be able to ride so far that we'll forget what he's done for us.
Come on, Silver, old fellow. We're on the trail of Golf Layton. Hi-yo, Silver! Away!
story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
This has been a presentation of OTRWesterns.com, and we hope you enjoyed. Please take some time to like and rate our shows in your favorite podcast application. Follow us on Facebook by going to OTRWesterns.com/Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to OTRWesterns.com/YouTube. And send us an email, podcast@OTRWesterns.com. You can call and leave us a voicemail, 707-986-8739. This episode is copyright under the Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike copyright. For more information, go to OTRWesterns.com/copyright. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.